So in the video I made about the Read What You Own Shorty September mashup, one of my subscribers, well, at least I hope they're a subscriber, maybe they just left a comment, and of course you could subscribe and leave a comment too, and a like if you wish. But anyway, they left a comment asking me to tell them more about the green penguins. So green penguins are flightless birds that eat a specific kind of... No, I'm just kidding. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about green penguins. And of course, green penguins in this case are penguin books that are of a green colour. Now, I think when most people think of penguin books, they're picturing the Black Spine classics range, or maybe the orange covered general fiction range. And of course they come in, or they used to come, especially in a lot of different colors, and each color meant a specific genre or type of book. As I've mentioned already, you know, black for classics, orange for fiction, blue for biography and that kind of thing, red for drama, purple for belles lettres and essays and that kind of stuff, and green was for crime, thrillers, espionage and that sort of thing. So that's where the green penguins come into. A little bit of history: it seems they appeared around 1935, 1936, and like with all penguins, the whole kind of paperback thing, the move away from hardbacks to make books and reading more accessible, because they would of course be cheaper to produce than the hardbacks and things like that. So as I said, the first green covers came out in the mid-1930s, and it was all part of Alan Lane, the founder of Penguins' drive to open up reading and access to books by making the fact that they were much cheaper than the hardbacks. And I guess it's no accident that these crime and espionage books did come out during the so-called golden age of detective fiction, with the likes of Agatha Christie, Dorothy L. Sayers, Marjorie Allingham, people like that publishing at the time. So yeah, and I don't have a huge amount of them. They are very collectible. I started just collecting the newer ones that came out. And then along the way, I've picked up secondhand ones as I go. I'd really like, of course, to get more, but it's not so easy living here. I have to just take what I get, and I don't want to have to buy them from eBay or something and then put myself open to possible charges and things since Brexit. But yeah, the series initially started with detective stories, but it grew to include spy novels and espionage tales that of course really picked up as the world moved from the Second World War into the Cold War, and the tensions that brought. So we see authors like Eric Ambler, who could be regarded as pretty much kind of the grandfather of the modern spy story. So of course he found a natural home there with the green penguins. Graham Greene also of course appears in that series, and it's got nothing to do of course with his name. And even now John le Carré comes up in that series as well. You can find books like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or Call for the Dead classed in that series, at least in the modern run. I don't know if this more modern run, more recent run, is the first time le Carré is included, but it's possible. So yeah, the early covers had apparently a 3-band layout, which is similar to this, I guess. This one isn't so old. I think it's from the very early 60s, but this is kind of well, I guess, I don't know if it changes here. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert. There'll definitely be people on YouTube who have more knowledge than me into the whole history of green penguins. But the earlier design would have looked something like that. This kind of 3-band design, 3-band layout, green at the top and bottom with white in the middle, making it, of course, instantly recognizable. So if you saw that on a shelf, you knew that you were going to get something along the line of crime, thriller, or espionage fiction. In this case, of course, it's crime. It's L. Stanley Gardner. It's Perry Mason book. So yeah, you would know exactly what genre of book you were getting when you saw something like that. So this is, I guess, one of the earlier ones I've got, at least in that style. I can show you a couple of others as I go through this. There's another one from the 60s here, Little Brother Fate by Mary Carter Roberts. I do have quite a few, but I'm not going to obviously go through all of the ones I've got. I'm just going to give you some ideas of the different styles there. I've got another Perry Mason here. You can see it cost you 3 and 6. This particular one is, where are we? 1965 is the reprint on it. I guess it kind of looks very 60s, but it's interesting because actually I think this one is also 1965. So it's kind of interesting that the styles are different. Actually, no. This one is 1961. So this one's actually older than this one. So it's nice to see the price didn't really change in those 4 years. They're both 3 and 6. But what I did find interesting, and I don't know if it's normal through it, is obviously this one is printed in Great Britain. This one is also published in Great Britain. But this one isn't, and perhaps, maybe the design was different for international sales. It's very possible. As I say, I'm not a massive expert in them, because this one was actually printed in the Netherlands by NV somebody or other in Utrecht. So, yeah, that's kind of cool that they're like of the same, pretty much the same line, different designs, different countries that they were printed in. Another one I've got here, I think, is from the 70s. Double check it here. 1970 here. The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes. Obviously, maybe not super clear if you saw that, but you would know, of course, that Sherlock Holmes was crime. I guess the green and white give it away, but it's always the spines, isn't it? It's always the spines with Penguin when you look at it, and most of these, of course, even the likes of Vintage and whatnot. And then the more recent run has kind of, they have more, I don't want to say more interesting designs, but these are the more recent ones. But obviously, again, it's easy to tell they are of the whole crime and espionage genre. So yeah, that's a little bit about the green penguins. Books, of course, not the animal. They are very highly collectible, apparently. A lot of people do like to go out and collect them. Maybe because of that design, maybe, of course, because of the content within them. Obviously, they have their place in publishing history. And, there are different styles, of course. The ones printed during the Second World War would have been done on very poor paper, apparently. So they would be rarer because, of course, they wouldn't have survived as long. So that, of course, increases their collectability. And, of course, like all these Penguin books, the idea of them and something that makes them important is the democracy of them, really. The fact that they were open to almost anybody to buy them. You weren't having to fork out the price of a hardcover book. You could go and buy a cheap Penguin. And plus, as as more and more people are able to afford the books, then the authors themselves would become, more popular and more household names, such as, Christie, Ambler, etc. So they're not just cheap paperbacks. They are, of course, a way of opening up different worlds. And in the Green Penguin case, they open up the world of crime, mystery, thriller, and intrigue to us, the normal readers, the ordinary readers. And they're still, of course, affordable when you buy them secondhand as well, at least, unless, of course, it's a rare one. So there we have it, a bit about Green Penguins. So I hope that helped you, the person who left the comment. I'm not going to mention them in case they don't want to be mentioned, but of course you can see on the video who it was, I suppose. So yeah, there we have it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Do take care, and I'll see you all again very soon. All the best. Cheerio.